So Konami finally put Eclipse Twins in the newest pack. I'm not really sure why they took so long, because Malice got all of its Ad Ignister support like literally 2 months after it released. Meanwhile, Ryzeal released the month after Malice, and it's only just now getting Eclipse Twins, which it's probably for the best, because this card is really good for Ryzeal. And honestly, I'm glad that they banned Ouroboros before releasing this, because if Ouroboros was still legal, this deck would be so much more toxic than it already is, because you would just be hand looping for 2 to 3 cards every time. Any Ryzeal deck with Eclipse Twins and Ouroboros legal would just be hand looping you for like 2 to 3 cards every game, and that's incredibly toxic. Thank God we don't have to deal with that. So I'm going to be showing you now the Mitsurugi Ryzeal combos with Eclipse Twins, without Ouroboros, without the hand looping, because that's banned. But yeah, we're going to start with the first combo. Is going to be Ext Ryzeal, and just Ext Ryzeal. So like pretend these other cards in my hand don't exist. The 1-card Ext Ryzeal combo, you're going to normal summon Ext Ryzeal, and you're going to use its effect, and you're going to special summon Ext Ryzeal from deck. So in Mitsurugi Ryzeal, unlike with like other Ryzeal builds, you summon Ext Ryzeal with Ext Ryzeal, because sooner or later you're gonna control non-level 4 and non-rank 4 monsters on the field, aka the Mitsurugi monsters. So you want to summon Ext Ryzeal out early. That way you get the search off Ext Ryzeal, because Ext Ryzeal only gets the search if you only control rank 4 or level 4 monsters. So Ice special X, and then get Ext Ryzeal's effect, and we're going to add our Sword Ryzeal to hand. And next, we're just going to go straight into King of the Pharaoh Imps with our 2 Ryzeal monsters. And we're going to use King of the Pharaoh Imps, detach, and add our Habakiri to hand. And next, we're going to use Habakiri effect, special summon Saji, and then tribute the King of the Pharaoh Imps to maintain the level 4 body of the Saji. And then the Saji is going to add the Mitsurugi Ritual to hand. And we're just going to keep the Sword Ryzeal in hand and just chill there until, we're safe. And near the half point, the midway point of the combo. So don't worry about the Sword Ryzeal for now. We're just going to do our Mitsurugi stuff. So we're going to use Mitsurugi Ritual, and we're going to tribute. We're going to special summon or ritual summon from hand by attributing Kusanagi and Aramasa. So also, this build does not run King of the Pharaoh Imps. Or what? Of course this deck runs King of the Pharaoh Imps. I meant to say this deck doesn't run Night Sword Serpent, because we're not going for Ouroboros anymore, and Ouroboros is a 3 material rank 4 Xyz. We don't really need the extra body provided from Night Sword Serpent anymore to do our full combos now. That being said, you can still run Night Sword Serpent if you want. It makes some lines safer into some hand traps like Nibiru. Not all lines. For example, this line already and like the next line I'll show you are already pretty Nibiru safe. But like some lines with Night Sword Serpent makes some combos better into Nibiru. But it does also add another brick to your deck, because Night Sword Serpent is a brick. So if you want to play Night Sword Serpent, if you want to play another brick in your deck for some combos being slightly better, you can do that. But I'm just gonna show you the basic combos without Night Sword Serpent in this video. So yeah, tribute Kusanagi and Aramasa, and then special the Habakiri, and then that's gonna trigger your Kusanagi and Aramasa. So I always like to do Kusanagi Chainlink 1 and then Aramasa Chainlink 2. The Aramasa search doesn't really matter. It's more of a chain block for the Kusanagi. That way you protect the Kusanagi from Bell potentially. But yeah, we're gonna add a Habakiri from hand, which does not really matter. The Kusanagi adds back the ritual, that does matter. So next we're gonna use our Mitsurugi Ritual, and we're gonna ritual the Murakumo from deck by attributing the Habakiri. And then that's going to trigger our Habakiri engraved, the special summon itself, and added a copy of Prayers to hand. And then special summon back the Habakiri. Next, we're going to use Prayers, and we're going to tribute the Murakumo, and we're going to apply both effects, add the third copy of Habakiri to hand. Again, this Habakiri, the third copy of Habakiri really does not matter. If you just have an extra copy of Habakiri, like you don't even need to add this to hand. You can just all that matters is that you special summon a monster from graveyard with the Mitsurugi Prayers. So we're gonna add a second copy of Habakiri to our hand, and we're gonna special summon back one of our level 4 Mitsurugi monsters. Doesn't matter which one. And then the Murakumo is gonna special summon itself back, and we're gonna add a second copy of Prayers to hand for our for disruption on our opponent's turn. And now special summon back the Murakumo. So now at this point, if your opponent was like paying attention, right now, this is where they should probably Nibiru you, because you have 2 level 8s on the field, which means that Photon Lord is in play. Photon Lord is a card that exists. In fact, it is a card that we run in our extra deck right now. Photon Lord. You don't have to run Photon Lord, but you know, for situations like this, you can, if you really want to be safe, you can just you can make a Photon Lord right now with Habakiri plus Murakumo. Now, again, if our opponent suspects that, they should Nibiru here at this point. Okay, like if they fear Photon Lord, they should definitely Nibiru you right here. And if not, we're gonna go into Dual Drive with our Saji plus Kusanagi, and then make the Dual Drive. Remember to make the Dual Drive on the EMZ if you can, because we're gonna need all the space at deck in our main monster zones. So it's not like we play links or anything. And next we're gonna use Dual Drive's effect, and at this point they 100% would Nibiru you. Okay, if they didn't Nibiru you when you had 2 level 8s on the field, they are going to Nibiru you on the Dual Drive effect, like 100%. They're not gonna let the Dual Drive effect resolve. Okay, like if they have a Nibiru, this is the latest point they will Nibiru you. If they don't Nibiru you right here, like it's probably just safe to assume that one, either your opponent is a complete and other psychopath and like should be checked out into like a mental clinic or a mental asylum or something, or they don't have Nibiru, which is the more likely case if the Dual Drive resolves. So if this Dual Drive resolves, we're going to detach 2. So I'll detach an Ext Ryzeal and Kusanagi, and then add a Node Ryzeal, and I will add a Star Ryzeal to hand. Star Ryzeal and not Cross, because again, I'm assuming that if my opponent allows this through, that they definitely don't have Nibiru. So I'm not even gonna attack. I'm not even gonna search Cross first to play around the non-existent hand trap they probably don't have in their hand. So yeah, after the Dual Drive resolves, now we can safely like suspect that they probably don't have Nibiru. We can go overlay our 2 level 8s now into our Decklist. So now Decklist is going to detach, or not detach, it's going to add our 7 Tachyon to hand, and then we can use its effect to detach 2, and we're going to special summon our Hope Harbinger as a, you know, just as a free interruption, it's free spell negate. You technically don't have to run Hope Harbinger, but I figured that if you run Decklist, it's probably worth it to run a Hope Harbinger just to get a free spell negate. Because you know that is like one of the things that's missing on the end board, spell negation. But yeah, also funnily enough, if you run both Hope Harbinger plus Photon Lord, you can actually just attach the Photon Lord to the Hope Harbinger right now as a material. Not that, you know, I would even recommend it, and like you probably shouldn't do it anyways. But yeah, I'm just gonna pretend that we don't do that. But yeah, now we have a Hope Harbinger on the field, and now we can special summon Star Ryzeal by detaching off the Hope Harbinger, detach the Decklist, and then you Star Ryzeal's effect, and Star Ryzeal is going to place the Ryzeal Cross. This is how we get the Ryzeal Cross. And it's fine to detach off the Hope Harbinger, and in case you're running, Hope Harbinger does not need to detach to negate a spell, okay? It has to detach to redirect an attack. However, if Hope Harbinger negates a spell, it just attaches the spell to it as material anyway. So if you just negate any spell, you can also have the redirect anyway. So it doesn't matter that Hope Harbinger has no materials on it right now. But yeah, now that we have Ryzeal Cross on the field, now we can special summon the Sword Ryzeal we got from way long ago, and then Sword Ryzeal will add our Ext Ryzeal. And here we can go into our Daigusto Emerald using Sword Ryzeal plus Star Ryzeal. Okay, and now we're going to be doing the Emerald loop. So we're going to be doing Emerald looping. So here's Emerald. It targets 3 monsters in our graveyard, then it shovels them back, and then it draws a card. So What's also neat about Emerald is that because Ext Ryzeal and Sword Ryzeal are limited, having Decklist Emerald means that we can always have a way to shuffle back our Sword and Ext Ryzeal for follow-up on the following turn. If for some reason we don't have Cross and our opponent denied our way to search Cross somehow, or we don't have Cross anymore, having Emerald means that we can still recycle Sword and Ext Ryzeal back into our deck, so that we still have access to them on follow-up turns. But yeah, so we're gonna special summon Decklist Emerald, and we're gonna detach. And we're going to shuffle back 3. So I'm going to shuffle back a Habakiri, Decklist, and a Mitsurugi name. Don't shuffle back a King of the Pharaoh names. Okay, you need ranked 4s engraved for Eclipse Twins, which you'll see later. But yeah, you shuffle these 3 back, and then draw a card. And next, I'm going to special summon Ext Ryzeal by sending one of our useless Habakiri that we added. And then here we can overlay our Ext Ryzeal and our Decklist Emerald into an Eclipse Twins, because Eclipse Twins, if you're wondering, can use rank 4 materials as can use rank 4 monsters as Xyz materials, because making rank 4 monsters was too hard to begin with. So we needed to make it easier by allowing you to use actual rank 4 Xyz and not just level 4 monsters. But yeah, anyways, Eclipse Twins. So Eclipse Twins is really neat. So when the Eclipse Twins get sent to the graveyard, you can target 2 other rank 4 or lower Xyz monsters, and then special summon one of them and attach the other to it. So you can probably see where we're going with this, since we have a Decklist Emerald in the graveyard. But yeah, I can special summon Node Ryzeal, and then Node Ryzeal, we're going to send the Eclipse Twins to the graveyard using Node Ryzeal's effect. We're going to summon back any Ryzeal name. Does not really matter which one. And then that's going to trigger Eclipse Twins, and Eclipse Twins is going to target both Emerald and King of the Pharaoh Imps. Then we're going to special summon back the Emerald, and then the Emerald is going to attach the King of the Pharaoh Imps. And in case you're wondering, okay, Decklist Emerald is an old ass card. This card is not a hard once per turn, which means that since we summon this back with the Eclipse Twins, we can actually just straight up use the Decklist Emerald again, detaching the King of the Pharaoh Imps, if we can shuffle back 3 more into our deck. So don't shuffle back Eclipse Twins or Pharaoh Imps for obvious reasons, but we can shuffle back a Habakiri that we just, a useless Habakiri, and Aramasa, and then another Ryzeal name. Don't shuffle back the Murakumo too, for obvious reasons. But yeah, shuffle 3 more back, then we get to draw another card. And here, since we add the 7 Tachyon to our hand off of the Decklist, we can this 7 Tachyon doesn't even really do anything. You could just 7 Tachyon, search another Ryzeal name as follow-up, so that's something you can do. But yeah, the 7 Tachyon is honestly not really necessary. It's just something free to add and thin our deck out, just so we can go into our Hope Harbinger. But yeah, next we can overlay our 2 remaining Ryzeal names, Sword Ryzeal and Node Ryzeal, into our Ryzeal Detonator. And then Detonator is going to attach the Eclipse Twins. And next, we're going to finally use our Ryzeal Cross, and we're going to shuffle back 2 Ryzeal names. So I'll shuffle back Star and X, since they're both 1-ofs, and then we get to draw another card. So this entire combo, the 1-card Ext Ryzeal combo, we set up a 3 material Detonator with an Eclipse Twin attached to it. We have a negate off Ryzeal Cross. We have a spell negate off Hope Harbinger. We have a Prayers to summon back the Murakumo. We also drew 3 cards, by the way, 2 off Decklist Emerald and 1 off Ryzeal Cross. So we casually have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have a 10-card hand, casual 10-card hand. So guess how many hand traps are going to be in here as well. And for the 7 Tachyon, so I'm not running it, but for 7 Tachyon, you can also run 1 slot in your extra deck. You can play. Let me see if I can find it real quick. You can play this card, the C102 Archfiend Seraph. Basically, you can reveal this and search an artifact Lancia. Because we add this 7 Tachyon to our hand, and we never actually got to use this, if you want, you can play the C102 in your extra deck so that your 7 Tachyon can search an Artifact Lancia too. Just so that you can, if this wasn't auto win enough, you could auto win against even more against like Malice and Orcust, and like really annoy the hell out of Lunatite, since they can't banish their perfume and stuff like that. But yeah, if you wanted Lancia in your hand too, you can, if you just play that 1 extra slot in your extra deck. But yeah, anyways, let's be honest, we're probably gonna have to discard cards during the end phase. So like, let's see if I can get the card count down. Okay, activate 7 Tachyon, and I'm just gonna add another card to our hand for follow-up. So I'll add a second ice for follow-up, and then I'll put back the other 7 Tachyon. That way we have we finally have a 6-card hand, so that we don't have to discard in the end phase. So yeah, we have like so many cards, and like to demonstrate the Ryzeal Detonator. So Detonator with Cross is like, this is why Ryzeal Detonator with Eclipse Twins. This is why Eclipse Twins is so neat, because let's say if your opponent does anything to try and out this Detonator, let's say they have an Imperm, let's say they use Tactics to try and steal after you've already used your Hope Harbinger spell negate, or if they so much as breathe on the Detonator and trying to remove the Detonator, you can chain the Detonator to detach and then just pop itself, so that it doesn't get hit by the Imperm. It can't be stolen by Tactics or so on and so forth. Obviously you're not going to protect it, and then it's going to pop itself, and so that the chain resolves. Then the Detonator, you can trigger Eclipse Twins. Also, funny enough, Hope Harbinger also has an effect, but you can trigger Eclipse Twins now. Eclipse Twins target the Detonator and target the Feral Imp, so you can revive the Detonator. And also, Hope Harbinger can chain block this, very funny enough, because if a face-up monster, Exceeds monster, is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a face-up Exceeds monster you control and gain attack equal to its original attack. So you can chain block the Eclipse Twins with Detonator, against Bell somehow, if they for some reason still had it, and then you can target the Hope Harbinger to get the Hope Harbinger an extra free attack boost, which is very funny. And then the Hope Harbinger gains attack, and then you special summon back the Detonator. And then the Detonator is going to attach the Feral Imps, and then the Ryzeal Detonator, just discard a random card, and the Ryzeal Detonator is going to trigger, and you can use Detonator to attach the Eclipse Twins again, or attach anything, doesn't really matter, but we can just say attach the Eclipse Twins, and now it's a 2-material Detonator again. So even if they have an out to the Detonator, you can always pop the Detonator, and then it'll come back as a 2-material Detonator still, and there's still 2 more Detonator pops for your opponent to deal with. So if they like kaiju the Detonator, this also triggers to revive. The Eclipse Twins will also trigger to revive the Detonator. So the Detonator is like actually just extremely insanely hard to out. It's like basically impossible to out Detonator now with any single card. You're gonna need 2 outs to Detonator, or you're just gonna have to play through the Detonator or pops because of Eclipse Twins. So the Eclipse Twins not only gives you extra draws, lets you Emerald Loop, it makes your Detonator like damn near invincible. And also, like, you don't have to do it like reactively to your opponent either. Let's say if your Detonator got down to 1 material, right? And like the only material left was a Eclipse Twins, the next pop, instead of popping your opponent's cards, you can use Detonator to pop itself by detaching the Eclipse Twins, and then when the Detonator pops itself, the Eclipse Twins will trigger to summon back the Detonator, and then the Detonator will come back, you'll attach the rank 4 to it, and then you'll get another attach off the Detonator. So when you get down to your last Detonator material, you can pop itself to get an extra material on it as well, to get it back to 2 pops again. So you can get an extra pop with the Eclipse Twins. If your opponent for some reason can't out the Detonator, and if for some reason this still matters, you can just use Eclipse Twins to get an additional pop on your Detonator as well. So yeah, that's what Eclipse Twins does for this deck. Like, be glad they banned Ouroboros too. Otherwise, we would have been hand looping with this too. But instead of hand looping, we're just gonna draw 3 cards and we're just gonna have an invincible Detonator instead. It still seems pretty good, right? So next is the 1-card Ext Ryzeal line, which is gonna be less common because Ext Ryzeal again did get limited. However, there are situations where you do 7 Tachyon search Ext Ryzeal if you have another normal summon in hand. So yeah, we're gonna Ext Ryzeal, we're gonna send Dual Drive. This is pretty similar to just how normal Ryzeal starts with, so the first steps are like all the same. You're gonna add Sword Ryzeal with X, Then you're gonna special sword, and then sword is gonna add your Ice Ryzeal, and then you're gonna normal summon Ice Ryzeal, and then Ice Ryzeal is gonna special your Star Ryzeal from deck, and then Star Ryzeal is gonna place cross as the 4th summon, and then your 5th summon is gonna be just dual drive with the cross up. So yeah, you make a dual drive up here in the EMZ, and now you're protected from the Nibiru already. And then dual drive is gonna attach the dual drive, and now these 2 remaining level 4s, you can go into King of the Pharaoh Imps, and then King of the Pharaoh Imps will detach and add our Habakiri to hand. So like, you know, I already have the Habakiri in hand, so like I'm just gonna pretend like it doesn't matter really. But yeah, we're gonna King of the Pharaoh Imps detach, add Habakiri to hand, and next you're gonna use Habakiri, and you're going to special summon Saji, and then you're gonna tribute the King of the Pharaoh Imps, and then Saji is gonna add our Mitsurugi Ritual. And like before that, you could also use dual drives effect. It doesn't, like, the ordering does not really matter right now, but yeah, we can use dual drive. I'm gonna detach both X and Star to add Node, and then Ice Ryzeal to hand. And we're gonna use our Mitsurugi Ritual to ritual this Habakiri from hand. And we're gonna send we're gonna tribute Kusanagi and Aramasa. And then that's gonna trigger our Kusanagi to add back the ritual, and then Aramasa can add us another blank copy of Habakiri. And then add back the ritual, and then we're gonna use ritual to ritual Murakumo from deck by tributing the Habakiri on field. And then that's gonna trigger the Habakiri, and we're gonna add a Prayers, and then special summon back the Habakiri, and we can Prayers, tribute the Murakumo, and then apply both effects, add our 3rd copy of Habakiri to hand. Again, if you already had a Habakiri in hand and you search the Habakiri up the King of the Pharaoh Imps, you know, you would just not search the 3rd Habakiri. It doesn't really matter. But you will special summon back another level 4 body. And then the Murakumo will special summon back, add a 2nd copy of Prayers to hand, and then special back the Murakumo. And next, we can go into our Daigusto Emerald. And quite frankly, we have so many bodies on field. Like, we actually have like too many bodies on field almost. But yeah, we can. First, actually, I'm going to special summon Ice Ryzeal by discarding a Habakiri from hand, because I want to shuffle back on the Habakiris with the Daigusto Emerald. So we're going to use Daigusto Emerald, detach, and then we're going to shuffle back Habakiri, and then Saji and a Kusanagi. So don't shuffle back the King of the Pharaoh Imps. We need the King of the Pharaoh Imps in the graveyard for Eclipse Twins later. Oh yeah, the nice draw. And then I can overlay into Eclipse Twins with Ice Ryzeal plus Daigusto Emerald. And next we're going to special summon our Node Ryzeal. And then Node Ryzeal is going to send the Eclipse Twins, summon back any Ryzeal name, doesn't matter which one. And then that's going to trigger Eclipse Twins. Eclipse Twins is going to target both Emerald and King of the Pharaoh Imps. And we're going to special back the Emerald, attaching the King of the Pharaoh Imps. And we can make our detonator right now with Node Ryzeal plus Sword Ryzeal. And then detonator is going to attach the Eclipse Twins to to itself. And we can draw another card with like Gusto Emerald, detaching, and then shuffling back. Aramasa, Star, and Ext. And we can and we can draw one more card off the Ryzeal cross by shuffling back our last two remaining Ryzeal names. And yeah, so we drew 3 cards, and you know, we didn't draw anything useful because we already have 3 hand traps in hand. But yeah, anyway, that's the 1 card X combo, completely immune to Nibiru. You still end on dual drive detonator. So you have the cross negate, 3 material detonator. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand, and we managed to keep we keep both the Habakiri and the Murakumo on field because we rank 4 locked ourselves early because our first summon with X we couldn't make the direct Rubion and like make a Heart of Hope Harmony or anything. So instead we're just gonna leave the Habakiri and the Murakumo on board. That way we can get the discard off the Murakumo basically whenever we want, and all of our opponent's monsters will just lose 800 attack because of the Habakiri. Not to mention, the dual drive 1 material gives our opponents also minus 100 attack. So all of our monsters gain 100 attack, and all of our opponent's monsters lose 900 attack. So basically we gain an extra 1k attack points on all of our monsters because we can leave the Habakiri on the field. So like that's just randomly very funny. They are never gonna run over anything relevant. And yeah, we also have the prayers to summon back the Murakumo for a nuke after if 4 pops in the gate aren't enough already, we have another board wipe with the prayers for the Murakumo, and again 8 cards in hand. We already have 3 hand traps in our hand too. So yeah, that's the 1 card X combo. Okay, and next is the last Ryzeal starter, which is Sword Ryzeal. So I'm going to be honest, there's a decent chance that you might not even need to know this combo, because the only time you're ever going to do this combo is when you open Sword Ryzeal and literally nothing else. And seeing as how Sword Ryzeal is limited now, that the chance of seeing only Sword Ryzeal by itself is pretty slim. And also, like, it's not like Ice or Ext Ryzeal where you would search them with 7th Tachyon. You are never 7th Tachyoning for Sword Ryzeal. Like, you can't even search Sword Ryzeal with 7th Tachyon. So like the chances of this going through, and also like because if this is your only starter, you also don't have any extender, so you do get stopped by like 1 hand trap. So like the chance of you actually resolving this combo, you could probably play this deck for an entire month and not have to do a single Sword Ryzeal combo by itself. But just to be safe, just in case, it's good to know for like the 1 in like 40, 50 games that you're gonna have to do this combo. But yeah, so 1 Sword Ryzeal, obviously you have to normal summon it because it's your only starter. You pretend the other cards in our hand don't exist, and you're gonna search X because like X is the only Ryzeal name you can add that does anything when you normal sword. Then you're gonna send Eclipse Twins to the graveyard with Ext Ryzeal, and then Ext Ryzeal is going to add a node to hand. We're not doing any of the fancy like hard making Eclipse Twins in this combo since we don't have access to that many bodies, since we can't normal summon Sword Ryzeal because we normal summon Sword Ryzeal, or we can't normal summon Ice Ryzeal because we normal summon Sword. So like, we're going to be short on bodies to do the full Eclipse Twin plays, but we can still dump it with Ext Ryzeal to get it into the grave so that you can still have it attached to a detonator at the end. But yeah, next you're going to exceed Sword plus Ext into King of the Pharaoh Imps, and then King of the Pharaoh Imps detach to add your Habakiri. And now we're gonna start doing our Mitsurugi play. So we're gonna special Saji and then tribute the King of the Pharaoh Imps to keep the level 4 body, and then Saji is going to add Mitsurugi Ritual, and then you're gonna use Mitsurugi Ritual and you're going to tribute Aramasa and Kusanagi from deck, and special the Habakiri, and then you're gonna trigger Kusanagi to add back the ritual, and then Aramasa to add another blank Habakiri to your deck. This one again doesn't really matter, but yeah, add the ritual back to hand. And next, you're going to Ritual. And you're going to Ritual Murakumo from deck by tributing the Habakiri on field. And that's going to trigger the Habakiri to special summon itself back, add you a Prayers, and special summon back the Habakiri. And next you're going to use Prayers, and Prayers tribute the Murakumo, and then apply both effects. Although again, you don't need to add the Habakiri to hand. This is optional. Like if you hard draw a Habakiri, you actually don't need to. You don't need to add the Habakiri, but then you're gonna special summon back a level 4 Mitsurugi monster, so either Kusanagi or Aramasa, and then special back the Murakumo. Add another Prayers to hand, and special back the Murakumo. Now your opponent does not need to. They do not need to nib here because unless they forgot, but because we summon Ext Ryzeal, we are rank 4 Exceeds lock, so this actually does not threaten a Photon Lord because like we can't make a Photon Lord. So like if your opponent's not paying attention, they might think they have to Nibiru here, but they actually just don't, because we can't Nibiru proof this combo at this point. But yeah, we're going to next make Dual Drive with our 2 level 4s. Make Dual Drive at top, and then Dual Drive effect. It's going to attach either Sword or X, doesn't matter which one. And then we're going to Dual Drive, detach 2, so I'll detach Sword and Kusanagi. And then I will add, so here, if they had Nibiru here, they would have 100% used Nibiru here at this point already. So there's no point playing around Nibiru right now, because like they would have Nibiru the Dual Drive. They would not let the Dual Drive resolve. So now we can if the Dual Drive resolves, we can safely assume that our opponent does not have a Nibiru at this point, so we don't have to continue to play around it from here on out. But that means I will add an Ice Ryzeal to hand, and I won't add Cross because we don't because again they don't have the Nibiru, so we don't have to play around immediately. I'll just add the Star Ryzeal. And next, we're going to special summon Ice Ryzeal, and I'll get rid of one of the Habakiris that we searched for free. And I'll special Node Ryzeal. And then Node Ryzeal, I'll use to pitch a random card in hand. So here you can actually just pitch the second Habakiri that you added to your hand for free. And then you can just revive a Ryzeal name from your graveyard. And next, with 2 Ryzeal names, you're going to make a Daigusto Emerald. But first, before using Daigusto Emerald's effect, you're going to special summon Star Ryzeal by detaching off of the Daigusto Emerald. And then that way, that's how you add set Cross to your field. So you're now going to set Cross, and activate Cross. And here, we can use our Daigusto Emerald to detach, and then shuffle 3 back. So don't shuffle back King of the Pharaoh Imps because you need another rank 4 in graveyard for the trigger Eclipse Twins. So instead, I'm going to shuffle back. Well, I'm not going to shuffle back those. I'm going to shuffle back a Habakiri, 2 Habakiris, and another Mitsurugi name. Doesn't matter which one. So shuffle these back, draw a card, and then we can use Cross, and we can put back our Ext and our Swords in our deck because they're limited, so we can access them again on a follow-up turn. So we draw another card, and nice draws. And then we're going to make a Detonator with Star Ryzeal plus Ice Ryzeal, and then Detonator will then attach the Eclipse Twins from grave. And now we have this end board. So our end board now is a 3 material Detonator with an Eclipse Twins attached to it. We drew 2 cards, one off Emerald and one off Ryzeal Cross. We couldn't get the Eclipse Twins to use Emerald again, so we didn't get 3 draws. But still, 2 draws is probably plenty. We have a negate off the Cross. We have a Murakumo with a Prayers, so we have another full board wipe. Plus, your opponent has to discard a card, and not to mention we still have 7 cards in hand. So, we're probably going to have at least 2 non-engine in our hand as well. So, yeah, that's just 1 Sword Ryzeal. still the worst comp. It's like the worst combo in the deck, and still gets you this far. It's just that like you probably won't be doing the Sword Ryzeal combo that often, but still, it's good to know when you have to. So the next combos are going to be showing how to bridge the Mitsurugi cards into the Ryzeal cards. So this combo is going to be the 1-card Habakiri combo. I know there's an Ice Ryzeal in hand, but like just pretend this isn't there. We're going to start with Habakiri. So you're going to use Habakiri, and you're going to special Saji from deck, and then tribute the Saji, and that's going to get you your Mitsurugi ritual. Next, you're going to ritual summon from hand, or ritual from hand, special Habakiri by tributing Kusanagi and Aramasa. And then it's going to trigger both Kusanagi and Aramasa, so Kusanagi, add back to ritual, and then Aramasa is going to add us another blank copy of Habakiri. And then add the ritual back, and next we're going to use ritual again, then ritual, tribute the Habakiri on field, to special the Murakumo, and then it's going to trigger Habakiri to add the prayers, and the Habakiri is going to special summon itself back. And next we're going to use prayers, tributing the Murakumo, and then we're going to apply both effects, add the third blank copy of Habakiri to hand, and then special summon back one of the level 4s, doesn't matter which one, and then summon back the Murakumo, and add a second copy of prayers to hand, special back the Murakumo, and next we're going to overlay, because we're gonna pretend we don't have this Ice Ryzeal in hand. We're gonna pretend we don't have any Ryzeal monsters in hand at all right now. So we're going to have to make Divine. I don't know the full name of this. We're just gonna call it Decklist. Divine Golden Shadow Dragon Decklist. Shadow Dragon, but it's a light action. Okay, whatever. Okay, Decklist. Anyways, we're gonna use Decklist's effect, and we're going to add a 7 Tachyon to hand, and then we're going to detach 2 off of this to special summon the Hope Harbinger from deck. And you can use this effect. You can attach the Photon Lord if you play it. You don't have to, so we're gonna pretend that we didn't attach it. And next, you're gonna use 7 Tachyon, and you're going to add your Ice Ryzeal to hand. So we're gonna add Ice Ryzeal, and I'm gonna add Ice Ryzeal, put back Ice Ryzeal. Yeah, but yeah, pretended we just added Ice Ryzeal back to hand, and we could easily just put back one of these blank Habakiris into our hand that we added for free back into our deck for the 7 Tachyon. So next, since we haven't normal summoned yet, we're gonna normal summon Ice Ryzeal, and we're gonna special summon Sword Ryzeal from deck. And then Sword Ryzeal is gonna add us our Ext Ryzeal. And next, I'm going to overlay 2 of these into an Infernal Flame Banshee. And Infernal Flame Banshee is going to detach, and we're going to add our Star Ryzeal to hand. So add the Star Ryzeal, and here I'm going to detach off the Hope Harbinger, even though technically the Hope Harbinger again has an effect where it has material on it. I'd rather just get more materials into the graveyard so that we can shuffle more cards back to get, you know, better draws, right, by putting back an extra deck monster. So I'm going to detach the Decklist to special summon the Star Ryzeal, activate Star Ryzeal, and place Ryzeal Cross, and we're going to activate Cross, and now I'm going to overlay these 2 into our Dual Drive. And now Dual Drive, we're going to attach the Star Ryzeal in our grave, and I'm going to use Dual Drive. I'm going to detach off of Flame Banshee, so detach 1 Ice Ryzeal, and I'm going to detach a Star Ryzeal, and we're going to add Node Ryzeal, and a second copy of Ext Ryzeal to hand. And next, with Ext Ryzeal, I'm gonna discard one of the Habakiris that we added to our hand for free for the ice to special summon the Ext Ryzeal, and I'm gonna special summon Ext Ryzeal as well by sending. It doesn't really matter what you send out here. At this point, you already have the 3 materials attached to a dual drive, so you don't have to send a dual drive. So I'm gonna just send an aggregator just cause. It does not really matter. And then obviously we don't get the surge off Ext Ryzeal because we have a rank 8 on the field, but it doesn't matter. At this point we already have everything. So next we're gonna overlay our Ice and our Ext into Daigusto Emerald. And we're gonna Emerald detach and shuffle 3 back to draw a card. So we're gonna shuffle back one of the Habakiris, the Dragluxion, and Mitsurugi name, and draw a card. And next, we're going to overlay our Banshee and our Daigusto Emerald into Eclipse Twins, and special our Node Ryzeal, and then Node Ryzeal is going to send the Eclipse Twins and summon back another Ryzeal name, does not matter which one. And that's going to trigger our Eclipse Twins. We have both Banshee and Emerald in the graveyard. So that's why we made the Banshee before, because we needed another rank 4 in grave to trigger our Eclipse Twins. Because if you notice, we started with the Mitsurugi engine, we didn't make a King of the Pharaoh Imps. So normally, if you started with the Ryzeal cards, you would have a King of the Pharaoh Imps in grave already, and you would have enough rank 4s to trigger Eclipse Twins. But because we never went through King of the Pharaoh Imps, we had to make the Infernal Flame Banshee just to get another rank 4 in graveyard, just so we could actually trigger Twins, because Twins again needs 2 other rank 4 Xyzs in graveyard in order to actually trigger its revive effect. But yeah, we're gonna target both Emerald and Infernal Flame Banshee, and we're gonna special back the Emerald and attach the Flame Banshee, and then you can detach off the Emerald and shuffle 3 more back, so we get to draw another card. So I'm gonna don't put back any of the rank 4s, but I'm gonna put back Aramasa, another Habakiri, and I'll put back on one of the other random Ryzeal names, and shuffle this back, draw a card. Nice draw, and then you can make a detonator with the remaining 2 Ryzeal monsters, Node and Ice, and this detonator is gonna attach the Eclipse Twins. And next we're going to use Ryzeal Cross, and we're going to cross, shuffle back X and Star, and then we get to draw another card, so we get to draw 3 cards off this. We still get the full end board. We have the Hope Harbinger, Spell Negate, we have a 3 material detonator with the Eclipse Twins attached to it. We drew 3 cards, 2 off Emerald, 1 off Cross, and we have a dual drive, so we have another free monster negate as well, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 cards in hand. 8 cards in hand. Very likely we might have to discard cards at the end phase if we're not careful. But yeah, and in the graveyard we also have an additional activator in graveyard. So when you do pop, I mean, this is like really far down the line. Like, this is probably not going to happen in a real game. But suppose your detonator, you pop your detonator, the detonator goes to the graveyard, then you revive detonator. When detonator revives, you can detonator, revive, and attach the aggregator to the detonator once it revives itself. So that way you have an extra layer of destruction on the detonator after it revives itself. But I mean, like, again, that's like so far in the future, and like it is definitely not going to get that far. Like you're probably not going to have to resort to that, but because you already have all this already. But yeah, that's the 1 card Habakiri line. So this is the last combo, and it's going to be just Mitsurugi Prayers. So this is going to be the worst one because you start with Prayers, you know, you're gonna be short 1 level 4 body, which actually does make a bit of a difference in your combo. But yeah, you'll see once we get there. But obviously, you know, as with all Prayers combos, start in the draw phase, toggle on, use Prayers in the draw phase. Play around draw as much as you can, and add that Habakiri to hand in the draw phase. And next, you're going to use Habakiri, you're going to special and tribute Saji, and that's going to add you your ritual, so on and so forth. That ritual, then you're going to activate ritual, and then ritual is going to ritual the Habakiri from hand by tributing Aramasa plus Kusanagi, and that's going to trigger the Kusanagi to add back the ritual, and then Aramasa is going to chain block essentially, and then you're just going to add the second Habakiri to hand, and the Kusanagi adds back the ritual. Next you're going to ritual, and you're going to ritual Murakumo from deck by tributing the on-field Habakiri, and then you're going to trigger the Habakiri engraved to add a Prayers and then revive itself. Now here, unfortunately, because we started our turn with Prayers, we can't activate Prayers again to tribute the Murakumo to get an extra level 4 body. You know, we cannot do the Jeff Jones, if you know, you know. But yeah, which means that we're just gonna have to go from here. We're just gonna have to go straight into Dragalucian, and then Dragalucian is gonna add our 7th Tachyon to get into our Ryzeal cards. So yeah, we're gonna add our 7th Tachyon. And like, obviously you're gonna pretend that we didn't open it because this is just a 1-card combo. And next we're going to use Dragalucian, detach 2, and special Hope Harbinger from deck. And yeah, we're not going to attach. So next we're going to activate 7 Tachyon, and we're going to 7 Tachyon, add Ice Ryzeal to hand, and put a random card back, so we can, you know, we can put back just the Habakiri that we literally just searched at the search for free, but I'll just put back another blank card. Normal summon Ice Ryzeal. Ice Ryzeal is going to special summon Sword Ryzeal, and then Sword Ryzeal is going to add Star Ryzeal. There's no way this the 1-card Mitsurugi Prayers combo is playing around Nibiru, by the way. So like, there's, because you can't play around Nibiru at all with this combo. You basically just have to ignore Nibiru and basically put them on better habit. So that's why we added Star, and we're gonna use Star, and we're gonna detach the Dragalucian off of the Hope Harbinger, and then trigger Star, and then Star set Ryzeal Cross, activate Ryzeal Cross, and like, this is really kind of awkward. So we're going to make our dual drive obviously with 2 Ryzeal names, but we have no Ryzeal names engraved, so like, we can't attach off the dual drive. So we're gonna have to use this dual drive, and we're gonna have to raw dog it, and we're just gonna have to detach both, and then we're just gonna have a Ryzeal Cross on the field without a Ryzeal Xyz with any material on it. So this cross is not protecting anything right now, but it's fine. We're gonna add Node Ryzeal, and we're gonna add Ext Ryzeal to hand. And next, I'm going to special Ext Ryzeal, and I'm gonna send Aggregator to the graveyard. And then, you know, don't use Aggregator. We can't search off the Ext Ryzeal obviously because we have this fucking Hope Harbinger on the field. It's fine though. Next, we're gonna go into our Daigusto Emerald using these 2. And we're going to use Emerald, and I'm going to detach, and we're going to shuffle 3 back. So I'm going to shuffle back the Dragalucian, and then a Habakiri, or just any 2 Mitsurugi names, shuffle them back, draw a card, nice draw. And next we're going to overlay the Daigusto Emerald and the dual drive into Eclipse Twins, because the dual drive has no materials anyway, so it's not helpful at all anyways. And next we're gonna special Node Ryzeal, and I'm gonna use Node Ryzeal, sending the Eclipse Twins and summoning back another Ryzeal name. It doesn't matter which one. and then that's going to trigger the Eclipse Twins. And here you have a choice. You can shuffle. You can either summon back the Ryzeal Dual Drive to get a material under it, so that you have a extra material to attach off cross, or you can special summon back to the Gusto Emerald and then draw another card. So like your choice. Either get it. You can either choose between one draw or an extra material. Now, not an extra, like, it's sort of an extra negate, because then you don't have to detach. You don't have to detach a material off the detonator, so you get like an extra pop per se. But you could also just summon back Emerald and attach the dual drive to it, and then get another draw off the Gusto Emerald. So Emerald, detach off the dual drive, shuffle 3 more back. So obviously you're not going to shuffle back either the dual drive or Eclipse Twin, so I'm going to shuffle back Aramasa, Habakiri, and then Star Ryzeal. So get to draw another card. Then you can go into a detonator off the build Ryzeal, and like our 2 leftover Ryzeal names basically. Ryzeal detonator will attach the Eclipse Twins, and then we can use cross, put back 2 more Ryzeal names. Don't put back the dual drive. Again, you need the dual drive in the graveyard as a rank 4 for the Eclipse Twins. So these are only 2 options. You can shuffle back the Ice and the Ext. But yeah, I shuffled those back, draw another card, and then that's the 1-card Prayers combo. I mean, it's still pretty ridiculous, considering this is like the worst combo, because you still end on detonator, 3 material detonator with an Eclipse Twins, with an activator in graveyard that you can if the Ryzeal detonator again revives off the Eclipse Twins, you can attach the activator as another negate. You have a Prayers to summon back the Murakumo for a nuke, and we drew 3 cards again, or we either drew 3 cards or we drew 2 cards, and we have an extra dual drive on the field to have another detach for cross, so that we can preserve a pop on a detonator. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Next, I'll show you an example Mitsurugi Ryzeal deck list real quick. So yeah, Malice ain't the only deck that draws 3 cards during its combo. Don't you just love the new direction that combo decks are taking, to where they're also drawing a bunch of cards for free on top of their end board? But yeah, anyways, this is a Mitsurugi Ryzeal deck list after the ban list hits, so with 1 sword and 1 Ext Ryzeal and 2 droll and 1 call by the grave. So yeah, this actually looks very clean. It's a clean 40 cards, and there are quite a lot of starters in this deck too. First of all, we're just playing very streamlined Ryzeal and very streamlined Mitsurugi engines. So like for the Ryzeal cards, we're not playing plugin, and we're not playing Plasma Hole. If you notice, these cards are just simply not necessary. They're just complete bricks. You don't need them. You have been just resolving dual drive and just searching the star and accessing dual cross. That Ryzeal cross, that's more than enough to win. You don't need these cards in hand. These just contribute to bricks, especially since you're playing the Mitsurugi card, so you're playing a couple more bricks in that engine. You don't want to include more bricks from the Ryzeal engine itself. And like, speaking of the Mitsurugi engine, we're not playing Night Sword Serpent, so like the Mitsurugi engine is also quite clean. But again, the Night Sword Serpent is more defensible. Like you can definitely run Night Sword Serpent. It's better. I would say Night Sword Serpent is better to run than like plugin or cross, or like no cross. Whoa! Please don't get cross. I meant plugin or Plasma Hole. You definitely don't need those in Mitsurugi Ryzeal. But Night Sword Serpent, you can if you want. It contributes to some lines. It makes you have an extra body. It makes some lines play into Nibiru better, such as specifically the 1-card Habakiri combo. But it's also, again, Night Sword Serpent is also not needed, so like if you don't want a brick, you don't have to run it. But yeah, the deck, even after the ban list hits, this deck still has a lot of starters for a Ryzeal deck. So obviously, Sword and Ext Ryzeal going to 1, hurts the Ryzeal starters, but you still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, Aramasa is a starter as well. 1-card Aramasa does lead you to a combo. It kind of leads you to a combo that's like very similar to Prayers, except one less body, because you have to normal summon Aramasa, so you can't normal summon ice, but you can still do a lot off of just one Aramasa. So like it's just still a starter. Technically, you can still do stuff with this. It's just like the worst one, but it still counts as a playable card. Okay, sorry, where was I? 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This still has 16 starters in this deck, and it also has room for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 14. So it has room for 15 hand traps still. 15 hand traps and 16 starters after getting hit on a balance. Like this deck is still completely fine and reasonable, consistent, honestly arguable like contention for like the best deck in the format still. So yeah, to go over the deck list, the main deck we have like we have the for the engine you have 1 sword, 1 node, 3 ice, 1 X, that's all you're allowed to run. 1 Kusanagi, 1 Saji, 1 Star Ryzeal, 1 Aramasa, 1 Murakumo. Again, we're not playing Futsu, we're not playing Futsu, and we're not playing Mirror as additional bricks. You technically, I mean, you can if you want to expand your plays further, but I personally don't think that you need your combos to go that much harder than they already do. And like again, adding more bricks to this deck is not advisable, especially since like you want to open like hand traps going second. You don't want to open extra Mitsurugi engine. But yeah, 1 Murakumo, 3 Habakiri, 1 Bonfire, 3 7th Tachyon. No need for 7th Ass. Like no need for this card that lives up to its name, 7th Ass, because you activate this, you're just gonna get rolled, you're gonna pass on nothing. No need for this since you're playing Mitsurugi cards. And then 1 Ryzeal Cross, 1 Ritual, and 3 Prayers. That's like both the Ryzeal plus the Mitsurugi engine, and then like 15 hand traps plus like I guess call by and cross out. Definitely run the 1 call by and definitely run the 1 cross out that you're allowed to run because of Droll, even though Droll also went to 2. So like technically you're gonna get Drolled less, but you're gonna have to out the Droll less as well. So like maybe overall I think you will get Drolled less, but you know it's still nice to have the out to it. Speaking of Droll, so 2 Droll, 2 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Fualas. I think these are like the hand traps that are gonna be in the majority of decks now. So like Fualas, Maxi, Ash, Droll, and then like the rest is like whatever you know you want to run. So I'm playing Imperm. Running 3 Imperm may not be correct. You probably could swap this out for other hand traps. I'm just putting these kind of as a placeholder for like when I decide what better hand traps are there to run, and then I'll adjust it accordingly to the meta. But yeah, Imperms, Purulia, it would be really good if you expect a lot of Ryzeal, obviously. But I mean, there was a new pack, and like none of the cards in the pack besides Eclipse Twins are technically Ryzeal cards. So, like we'll see how good Purulia actually is. And then obviously there's also Lancia. Again, if you expect Malice to be good, Malice did get hit decently with Apple and like Chessy Cat Who, but you know it's still a deck, so Lancia still exists. So I mean, Malice still exists, Orcus still exists. People project Orcus to be one of the best decks, and like Lancia is good against Orcus. Also, Lancia is deceptively pretty good. It's deceptively very good against Lunanite as well, because the Lunanite's one of their main cards is Lunanite Perfume, which banishes to basically you banish this card from the graveyard to, you know, Rhoda, and it's not a once per turn in any sense. So like you can go through multiple Lunanite perfumes. So like just having something like an Artifact Lancia, it's like a mini draw. It cuts them off of a bunch of searches on top of like, you know, other random effects like Perfume Dancer, which is not that relevant going first, but like yeah, stuff like that. You know, make it harder for them to make the make the Liger Dancer, but yeah, that's the main deck. The extra deck it's pretty tight, honestly. There's like 1 flex spot maybe or 2. Like you could technically go down to 1 Ryzeal Detonator if you're brave. I'm not brave enough, so like I'm playing 2 Detonators still. But yeah, definitely 1 Detonator is like a possibility if you really want space. But yeah, Emerald, you know, for the loops, King of the Pharaoh, Simps, Masquerade for the 7th Tachyon, Dugars. Dugars is kind of a flex spot, although Dugars is it's important in boosting your monster's attack so that like you're actually big enough to be able to run over stuff like Lego Dancer, because without Dugars, your attack threshold is actually quite low. You don't use this to draw cards that much anymore because obviously with Eclipse Twins around, Daigusto Emerald is just better for drawing cards that way. But yeah, Daigusto Emerald Dugars still. One Light Dragon Administer. This card I think should be a staple in all Ryzeal decks because of its not because of its pop, but because of its first protection effect. If a monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can detach one material from this card instead. So basically, this card lets you beat Liger Dancer and lets you beat Luna Knight because Liger Dancer is a quick effect Raigeki, and if they make two of them, they can like Raigeki you twice. So like that's really annoying to play into. The actual towers itself is whatever, but if you can just stick a Light Dragon Administer in the field, then it basically renders the Liger Dancer completely useless because their Raigekis won't pop anything. You just detach off the Light Dragon. So having Light Dragon Administer in your extra deck basically means that all Luna Knight players, they have to preemptively Liger Dancer whenever you have two level 4 bodies in the field. Like they have to. Otherwise you're just gonna get owned by Light Dragon. And if they don't play around the Light Dragon Administer, then you just make this, and then suddenly their Raigekis are their Liger Dancers don't pop anything anymore. So yeah, I think this is very important. It allows you to, make them waste their Raigekis, and once their Raigekis are gone or useless, you can just beat them up with Mitsurugi cards, and then make a Dugars to have runs, make something really big to be able to run over, like a Liger Dancer, for example. But yeah, this card is very important in the Luna Knight matchup, depending on how popular you expect it to be. One Flame Banshee, double dual drive, 1 to 2 detonator. I recommend 2, but 1 is playable. Eclipse Twins, Hope Harbinger for the Dragluxion, 1 Aggregator, and then 1 Galaxy Guys. This is one of the flex spots, so as you notice, I didn't go into this in any of the combos, but technically there are a few combos where you could have gone into Galaxy Ice Photon Lord early as insulation if you have other engine pieces. If you didn't need to technically search a 7 Tachyon, you could just go with Galaxy Ice to protect you from further hand traps. But yeah, again, one of the things I mentioned that you could play was C102. This card, if Lancia is really good in this format, which I suspect it might be, you can definitely just put this in your extra deck and then use 7 Tachyon to search Lancia. And as you saw, even in one of the combos, the 1 card Ice combo, you just have an extra 7 Tachyon that you add to your hand for free. So you could technically just convert that free 7 Tachyon into a Lancia too, just by putting this card in the extra deck over one of the flex spots I mentioned. But yeah, that's it. That's Mitsurugi Ryzeal. Expect this to be one of the best decks in the format. Finally, we got Eclipse Twins. You'll learn for yourself why this card is so dumb from experience. And yeah, honestly, the limits. I know the limits were meant to be Ryzeal hits, but the limits made this deck more clean. Because before, when I played Mitsurugi Ryzeal, I was going over 40 cards all the time. I was playing 44 because there were too many good Ryzeal cards to run. I was running multiple copies of X, multiple copies of Sword. I had more room for Droll, but the balance just let me cut this deck down to 40 cards clean, and it still has 16 starters and 15 hand traps. So that's still very good ratios. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know if there's any other decks you want me to cover from the new pack, or that are balance affected that you want to see, and I'll see. Right now, I have quite a few crafting points, but I have 0 gems, so that's going to be an issue. But I'll make it work.